troisième rang, avec au numéro 14, batting third, shortstop number 14, Janet Moon. Avant-dernière joueuse désignée numéro 26, batting fourth, designated player number 26, Larissa Franklin. Au cinquième rang, jouant au premier lieu numéro 13, batting fifth, playing first base number 13, Zoe Hicks. Avant sixième, gauche sur le droite, numéro 44, batting six, right fielder number 44, Kiana Jones. Au septième rang, gauche sur le gauche, numéro 3, batting seven, playing left field number 3, Erica Polidori. Avant huitième, gauche sur le centre, numéro 5, batting 8, center fielder number 5, Callum Pilgrim. Avant neuvième, receveur numéro 2, batting 9, catcher number 2, Natalie Whiteman. En position flex, on surface numéro 18 in the flex position, starting pitcher number 18, Don Holdrug. The substitute, the alternates, numéro 4, number 4, Sam Ryan. Numéro 7, number 7, Madeline McKinnon. Numéro 10, number 10, Rudy Anderson. Numéro 12, number 12, Kristen Boyd. Numéro 15, number 15, Nicole Rivet. Numéro 17, number 17, Sarah Groenwegen. Numéro 22, number 22, Riley Crane. Numéro 28, number 28, Nicola Simpson. Numéro 77, number 77, Grace Vesper. Numéro 99, number 99, Morgan Rackle. Team Canada! Voici les codes pour ce match. Here's the home team for this game. Triple Crown, Colorado. Avant première, jouant troisième numéro 13, batting first, playing third base, number 13, Danica Coffey. Au deuxième rang, batting tour numéro 12, batting second, shortstop number 12, Aaron Koffel. Avant troisième, joueuse désignée numéro 28, batting third, designated player number 28, Rylan Hitchcock. Au quatrième rang, jouant premier lieu numéro 20, batting fourth, playing first base, number 20, Hannah Gamble. Avant cinquième, receveur numéro 2, batting fifth, catcher number 2, Sarah Gordon. Au sixième rang, jouant deuxième lieu numéro 2-0, batting sixth, playing second base, number 00, Jackie Lees. Avant septième, receveur droite numéro 3, batting seventh, right fielder number 3, Kaylee Wyckoff. Avant huitième, receveur de centre numéro 21, batting eighth, playing center field, number 21, Mackenzie Wilson. Avant neuvième, receveur gauche numéro 1, batting ninth, left fielder number 1, Gary Lassiter. Avant dixième, position flex, lanceur numéro 8, in the flex position pitching number 8, Ryan Lopez. Et substitut, the alternates, numéro 19, number 19, Cassidy Curd. Numéro 7, number 7, Courtney Coppersmith. Numéro 11, number 11, Kirsten Neal. Numéro 23, number 23, Carolyn Dickens. Numéro 4, number 4, Jessica Mullins. Numéro 22, number 22, Nikki McGaffin. Numéro 44, number 44, Fallon Edwards. Numéro 47, number 47, Haley Morrow. Numéro 14, number 14, Reese Atwood. Team TC Colorado. Les arbitres pour ce match, the umpires for this game, Wild at home plate, Clifton Harvey. Au premier lieu at first base, Brian Weber. Au deuxième lieu at second base, Adam Nicoloni. Au troisième lieu at third base, James English. Mesdames, Messieurs, évidemment, s'il vous plaît, vous levez si vous en êtes capable de retirer le chapeau et casquettes pour l'interprétation des hymnes nationaux du Canada et des États-Unis d'Amérique. Ladies and gentlemen, please now rise if you are able to remove your hats and caps for the national anthems of Canada and the United States of America. Both teams have a great game.
A spectacular Saturday afternoon at Softball City in South Surrey for women's playoff action at the Canada Cup. My name is Peter Loubardias alongside longtime Italian national team shortstop Amanda Fama. This is the second meeting of this tournament between Canada and the collegiate all-star team known as Triple Crown Colorado. And I think we were somewhat surprised in the round robin. 5-inning 8-0 victory for Triple Crown Colorado. What has to change or be different this afternoon for Canada?
They're going to have to hit, Peter, and I think we saw that the last time these teams faced each other. TC Colorado had 12 hits, and Canada only had 1. So they're going to have to really get their leadoff hitter on and produce runs from there and get ahead, set the tone early in this game.
And I wonder, too, Amanda, if Canada can benefit from the 7 hits that they put on the board last night against Team Japan, despite losing the game, in a game where the score didn't tell the story, 8-1.
Absolutely, I think they can. They've really got their momentum going in the last couple of games, and I think we're going to see more hits for sure from the Canada roster.
Well, time to play. Triple Crown Colorado, Canada in a winner's bracket. Semi-final game at the Canada Cup, their second meeting. The first was Wednesday afternoon. A 12-hit attack. And Mariah Lopez, the star at the University of Utah, gets the ball and faces Canada's #1 hitter. She has 11 hits already in this tournament. She is 26-year-old Delta, British Columbia product, Kelsey Harshman. The changeup from Lopez finds the mark. 1 ball and 1 strike to Harshman, who is having a marvelous Canada Cup for a second consecutive year. She batted .579 in this tournament 1 year ago, in what was a precursor to the World Games in Birmingham, Alabama. This is a precursor to a World Cup stage qualifier that will start in Italy for Canada coming up on the 22nd of this month. And Harshman got Canada off to a good start last night with a single against Japan. Change up and was right on it and fouled it back off the pitcher, Mariah Lopez. Lopez, coming off a fabulous year in which she pitched the University of Utah to their first College Women's World Series since the year 2003. And works full to Harshman and delivers strike 3 looking, a rare strikeout for Kelsey Harshman. There's a look at our umpiring crew. Clinton Harvey behind home plate as Emma Ensminger steps in. One of the best third base players on the planet. Emma is having a fine tournament. She followed in the first inning against Japan last night with a double to the wall in right center. And one of the big turning points in Canada's loss to Japan last night was a great relay by the Japanese that threw out Harshman, and Canada, who had 7 hits against Japan, the most they've given up in any one game here. Japan, by the way, opened the playoffs in the first game today with an impressive 8-1 victory over Team Italy. And the winner of this game will face Japan in the 6 o'clock game here tonight. Ensminger goes the other way with a changeup, but Jackie Lease there in plenty of time. And 2 up, 2 down for Mariah Lopez and Triple Crown Colorado. Janet Leung, maybe one of her greatest international events at home plate. In fact, Amanda, Janet had the only hit in the 8-0 loss at the hands of Triple Crown Colorado here on Wednesday.
And even though Janet is a superstar, we saw with this TC Colorado team that that's not going to be enough for them to come out on top and get a win. So this has to be a team win here for Canada, a team collective win.
And the rise from Lopez upstairs, swung on and missed by Janet Leung, who has 10 hits in her own right in this tournament. And stays alive as she fouls that out of play. There was a stretch prior to Canada's game against Israel where it was almost impossible to get Janet out. And she was also equally as impressive at shortstop. Goes the other way, and again, a good battle brewing here as Canada would love to get off to a good start in their second meeting against this very talented, young collegiate all-star team assembled once again for this tournament by the head of Triple Crown Colorado, David King. Leung pops it up, and Hannah Gemmel takes care of it, and a 1-2-3 start for Triple Crown Colorado as they'll come to bat. It is playoff Saturday at the Canada Cup. Don Bodrug from Georgetown, Ontario, gets the ball from head coach Kaylee Rafter this afternoon for this all-important winners bracket semifinal is what I'm referring to it as. After the round robin, in which Canada finished with a record of 5-2, they finished third. Top 4 teams have an extra playoff opportunity or life. And the winner of this game has a date with Japan in a game that will determine our first championship final. Slated for tomorrow at 6, and Canada would love another crack at Japan, and so would Triple Crown Colorado, as they were shut out in convincing fashion as well by Japan in their only loss. Although yesterday, and we'll tell that story as we go along this afternoon, their final round robin game against Team Greece had a lot more drama, intrigue, 2 protests and a 6-run bottom of the 6th after they lost a protest and then won a protest and scored 6 times to erase a 3-2 deficit. Now, as it turned out, it would have been the same matchup today. The only difference is Canada would have still been in this position. So not much of a difference, and that is a tough out to get leadoff batter Danica Coffey, who has been one of a number of hitters with more than 10 hits. Going into yesterday's final game, she was 11 for 14 in the round robin. As Erin Koffel, who hit .440 this year at the University of Kentucky, where she completed her junior season, and she had a 2-run home run or a grand slam home run against Greece to blow that game wide open. And Koffel does what Erin Koffel does. She hits the ball exceptionally well. She was 2 for 3 against Canada in the round robin meeting and has the first hit of this winner's bracket semifinal affair.
And she does a great job here. Again, Dawn pitching is going to provide that power, so she just puts the bat on the ball and takes that outside pitch and gets herself on base.
Dawn Bodrug from Georgetown, Ontario, attended Stony Creek University, or Stony Brook, pardon me. Stony Creek is a community just outside of the Toronto area. Stony Brook, don't want to offend anybody at that fine college. And Rylan Hedgecock, the batter for Triple Crown, Colorado. Popped in the air and out of play. Bodrug did not participate, the 23-year-old, in last year's Canada Cup because she was hurt. She was 19-7 in 2022 at Stony Brook. 40-17 during her career, and has had a couple of good outings here. Did pitch 2 2/3 in the loss against Triple Crown Colorado earlier this week as she deals to Rylan Hedgecock, who's the designated player in Dave King's lineup today. And look out, David. Good reactions for not only the head coach of this team, but he's the head of the entire Triple Crown Colorado softball program, and it is a magnificent one. They put on a lot of great events. Bodrug. Harshman, a perfectly executed 5-4-3 double play for Canada that brings the crowd to its feet. We're through one inning in this key playoff encounter on a superb Saturday at Softball City. 30-year-old Larissa Franklin, who missed the majority of this tournament, a Canadian Olympic bronze medalist. Canada won its first ever medal in women's softball 2 summers ago in Japan. It brought with it a large turnover in the team. And in a 4-game series in Nashville, Tennessee, against a women's pro team, the Florida Vibe, she hurt an ankle. And this is just her 5th plate appearance of this tournament. And she's up in the order, which is not surprising. And she had 2 of Canada's 7 hits last night. She was 2 for 2 against Japan as Canada goes in search of its first hit against Mariah Lopez. Jackie Lease on a second hop. And what are you seeing early from the star at the University of Utah that's allowing her to do a great job against the Canadian hitters?
She's reading this ball really well over at second, getting behind it, getting her body all the way around to produce a good throw to first and keep these Canada hitters off the bag.
Mariah Lopez is from Peoria, Arizona. She was 23-7 this year at the University of Utah. Pitched 197 in 2/3 innings as she works to Canadian newcomer Zoe Hicks, who's from Boissevain, Manitoba, 25 years of age, and has had herself an excellent Canada Cup, especially early in the event. She was on a tear to start, and the changeup is a good one. And Hicks goes down swinging, and Lopez in a groove, which is not good news for Canada early in this game.
I know we've talked, Peter, a lot about the changeups and the speed difference in those pitches and why they're so effective, and that's a great example of having the same release point, the ball coming out at the same spot, not being able to really see what the speed is and catches you off guard with your weight forward and chasing a pitch that bounces in front of the plate.
Kiana Jones, one of the budding stars at this level for Canada, having another quality Canada Cup. She's just 21, and she hails from right here in Surrey, British Columbia. So playing in her home park for her country. Made a spectacular catch last night, diving in right field, where she is again today. 2 balls and a strike to Kiana Jones, who's more than capable. She's done it twice to take a ball out of this park. And lays off the rise from Lopez, and now it's a hitter's count at 3-1. Popped in the air. Should be no trouble for Gamble, but it is, and you saw why. It is a miserable sun for fielders on that side of the diamond at this time of day.
And she does well blocking it with her glove, and that's exactly what she should do. And then, unfortunately, as she goes to kind of squeeze her glove, just misjudged it right there at the end. But this sun is so bad. It's so crucial. And it looks like it's playing a part in this game.
And the quality at bat and a little extra chance allows the first Canadian base runner as Kiana Jones, who will turn 22 on the 16th of August, to draw a walk. And Erica Polidori, another Canadian Olympic medalist from Japan 2 summers ago, swings and misses. She's 31 years of age and from Brantford, Ontario. And has started to swing the bat better and better with every passing day here. Had a tough time getting on track early, and then had a stretch where she put 4 consecutive hits together in the 2 games prior to the contest versus last night against Japan. And Canada, despite the 8-1 score, so if you woke up today and saw the score and thought it was a blowout, it was not. Canada was out hitting Japan 7-5 right up until the bottom of the 6th inning when Kaylee Rafter sent in 17-year-old youngster Ruby Anderson. And maybe even more importantly than that, Canada stranded 8 base runners on those 7 hits and only managed the 1 run. They made 3 outs at home plate. And I will be jotting that in the old Lubardius memory file, because I don't remember in a big game a team making 3 outs at home.
Let alone versus Japan.
That is a quality point by you.
And I think, kind of bringing to a good point, the way that this TC Colorado team has come out on defense, with Lopez pitching very well, Canada is not going to be able to leave runners on and get a win here. They're going to have to execute every opportunity that they have.
And Polidori takes that high. Again, for elite level pitchers, and Lopez maybe not that yet at a world level, but most certainly at the next level, which is Division I college play in the United States. She is. Polidori high in the air again on that tough side. But Jackie Lease able to shield her eyes. Canada with a runner, still looking for its first hit off Mariah Lopez. And it's scoreless, heading to the bottom of the 2nd. Canada and Triple Crown, Colorado. Hannah Gamble, star at the University of Arkansas, will represent her country in an August the United States and Japan series for a 2nd straight year. Those 2 powerhouses of women's softball will meet for 3 games over in Japan. And Gamble will have an opportunity. This is her 2nd straight Canada Cup. Hannah in the tournament is 8-4-15. 2 doubles, and surprisingly has yet to drive in a run, which is scary news for Canada and any other opponent, frankly, that this team will play. She had 12 runs batted in this event last year. Coming off a bit of a down year, and a little example of some of Hannah Gamble's power. Her hometown is Beebe, Arkansas. Played a lot of third base for David King in this tournament with Triple Crown last year. A Triple Crown team that beat the United States national team twice here in Surrey before losing to USA 5-1 in the championship final. And they have another very gifted group of athletes that they've brought. And there are some returnees. Gamble is one of them. Courtney Coppersmith, one of their 7 pitchers, another. Facing Don Bodrug, who has a strikeout and induced a inning-ending double play to take care of business in the first, but walks Gamble to start the bottom of the second inning. Triple Crown Colorado, 6-1 in the round robin, with a collective team batting average of .377. Bodrug works in the inner half and works well against Sarah Gordon. And Gordon, somewhat like in our last game, Hoturo Tsukamoto, when she gets a hit, it usually results in runs. She had a key 2-run homer in the second inning against Canada on Wednesday. Janet Leung, trying to shade her eyes, does so. And Gordon is retired with no one out, now 1 out in the second.
And Gordon just gets under that ball again. It's a very high hit ball, and that just shows the power she has. If she squares that up, it could be trouble for Canada.
0-0, Jackie Lease played the majority of time at second. She's had a very strong week. 7 for 17 is her batting average with a double and 6 runs batted in. She was 6 for her first 6 in Triple Crown Colorado's first 2 games, including a 4 for 4 performance on opening day against Israel. An 8-team tournament, all 8 still alive, but not for long. And Bodrug with what I think is her best pitch. The high rise and a strikeout, her second of the game. Haley Wyckoff. Gamble, the base runner, on the leadoff walk, but a nice recovery by Bodrug. And for Canada moving forward, the progression of this 23-year-old right-hander, Amanda Demie, is so critical to Canada's continued success in international play.
Yeah, at 23, I mean, she's young. She's very young. She has a bright future, especially if the Olympics puts softball back in it. And she's doing well and only going to get better, and we've seen her improve already even throughout this tournament. So I expect to hear her name and see great stats from her in the future.
She's still a relative newcomer. And Natalie Weidman comes up throwing, and Hannah Gamble, who is on the move, looking to move into scoring position with 2 outs in the bottom of the second, had to put on the brakes. That didn't come out well, and the reason is for the 21 games that I have called this week, it starts to wear on the old vocal cords just a little bit, although at least this sport allows you to operate most of the time at a pretty conversational level that does not force you to hit the high notes, as they would say in the singing business, of which no one on planet Earth wants to hear this rotten voice try to sing music of any kind. Wick off the batter. And there's some good velocity. I have to believe, never seen the speed gun on Dawn, but that's got to be in that 65 to 70 range. That one may be closer to 7-0 than 6-5.
Yeah, it comes at you extremely quick.
And another strikeout for Don Bodrug. Impressive against this collegiate bunch of all-stars. And we've got a good one brewing in a winner's bracket semifinal at the Canada Cup. No score, only one hit. As Mariah Lopez, the starter from Peoria, Arizona for Triple Crown Colorado, has yet to give up a hit. Canada with one base runner on a walk. Dawn Bodrug for Canada. Back-to-back strikeouts. She has 3 in the game. And both pitchers setting the tone of these two teams who are more than capable of putting up plenty of runs. And both teams displayed that for Canada in all but 2 games. And I'm not sure I even count the Japan game. When you have 7 hits against Japan, that to me tells a story. So even though they scored 1 run, they hit well. The only game they did not hit well was against the team they're facing right now. They only had the 1 hit in their 8-0 5-inning setback Wednesday afternoon against Triple Crown Colorado. And the only time is Callum Pilgrim, who has many a hit, flies directly out to center fielder Mackenzie Wilson for out number 1.
Again, it's important to put the ball in play. You want to force the defense to make plays, and strikeouts aren't going to do that. So Canada is slowly starting to get their bats alive and put the ball in play. But got to get some clutch gappers and runners on here.
Natalie Weidman has 1 hit in the tournament. It came in a 13-2 triumph over Mexico in another game that 13-2 didn't really tell the story necessarily there either. Canada coming off the game Wednesday afternoon against Triple Crown Colorado. The 8-0 loss, were down 2-1 to Mexico going to the top of the 6th. And then the home run derby started. And Canada ended up hitting 5 home runs. They scored 7 times in the 6th, then added 5 more for good measure in the top of the 7th. 5 home runs in the game in total. And it became a Shania Twain song festival, too, because they play one of her songs after every Team Canada home run. As Natalie Weidman goes down swinging. And Lopez, like Dawn Bodrug, now has recorded 3 strikeouts in the game. And if anyone's going to get Canada going, it's Kelsey Harshman. And she took strike 3 looking in the top of the first. And the changeup is a good one, and can tell by Harshman's body language it wasn't that she didn't somewhat anticipate it. But this is truly, and I've mentioned it every day all week, this is a professional hitter in every sense of the word. She hits for power. She hits the ball to all fields. She hits it with power internationally. Has been at the top of the Canadian ledger in so many tournaments. Has a great eye, which usually goes hand in hand for great hitters, and she is one.
She is, and she knows it. Not that she's, cocky about that, but you can see that even in that first hack that she takes on that changeup at this at-bat. She knew it was coming. Her weight was back, and maybe she's a little amped up knowing that she has to, start things off for this. She is one of the better hitters on this team, and so she looks more locked in at this at-bat than she did her first at-bat. Maybe a little nervous, knows what's at stake here, So being the great hitter she is, you can already tell from her body language and at this at-bat that Harshman's locked in.
And gets underneath that changeup. Backing up is Koffel. And a 1-2-3 inning again for Triple Crown Colorado and their outstanding University of Utah star pitcher, Mariah Lopez. A pitcher's duel, at least to begin, in a winner's bracket semifinal at the Canada Cup. Don Bodrug, the Canadian pitcher, has allowed just one hit against a team that has batted nearly .380 collectively. Triple Crown Colorado. Only Japan has better totals and more runs scored. Japan beating Italy in today's first winner's bracket semifinal and advanced to an enormous game, a game that the winner will advance directly to tomorrow evening's championship final at 6 tonight. And that's the same time the championship game will be played here tomorrow. Won last year by the U.S. national team over Triple Crown Colorado. After Triple Crown Colorado beat them twice in a playoff game and that aforementioned direct to the final game, and also beat the United States during the round robin. Mackenzie Wilson, the center fielder, has a base hit just past Emma Ansminger at third. And lots of speed aboard with Mackenzie Wilson. And Wilson just found the right spot for that line drive.
That was hit well again with Bodrug providing power. As long as you can get your hands out and get the barrel where it's hit, the ball's going to get through.
A bunt attempt by Lassiter, and she can't get it down. pops up to catcher Natalie Weidman, and there's a failure to execute for Triple Crown Colorado. I would suggest from our vantage point, Bodrug might not have the top velocity, but I don't think she gives way to many, at least from our vantage point. Now, difficult. You have faced lots of pitchers. But for the most part, from my research, because she was hurt last year, this is really her first true big international competition with Canada. And they're delighted to have her. And she does throw hard. There is no doubt about that.
I'm sure she's happy to be out here. Again, being able to play off that and to perform. Again, she's not one of those super spinny pitchers, but more speed. And she's got her changeup, her rise ball, which we've seen get her some strikeouts today. She's doing well. She knows she can improve and tighten it up a little bit, and I think we're definitely going to see that throughout this game as it gets closer and closer and closer to the 7th inning.
And when you face lineups like this, Japan, Italy, it's a great opportunity, I would think, Amanda, as a pitcher, to truly understand. How do you understand what world-class hitting is unless you face world-class hitting?
Right, that's the only way to do it. And these teams see each other often, but not often enough. So any chance that you get, you're really kind of testing yourself and wanting to improve.
Pilgrim off the glove. Callum Pilgrim, who has had a terrific week, got to Danica Coffey's long fly and has it go off her glove. Coffey, an amazing, that won't act as a hit. That's an error to Pilgrim in center. But she's still 12 for 17 in the tournament. And Triple Crown Colorado now, instead of having a runner with 2 out at first, have runners at second and third as Canadian pitching coach and head coach Kaylee Rafter on their way out to talk about how they want to defend and pitch in this key situation. And I have mentioned this in the last couple of days. I think being the home team in some regards is of real advantage. You're used to the park. So many of Canada's players are from right here in this area, like Abbotsford's Callum Pilgrim. But playing in front of big crowds, in front of friends and family, bring with it what goes hand in hand already in big spots are some extra nerves.
Absolutely. This Canadian crowd has been really amazing, and it's great to see as an American and an Italian. And that extra pressure, kind of embarrassment more, I think, too, if you make an error or something like that. But the pressure for sure is higher when you're at home, and that can hinder some athletes.
Well, Canada intentionally walks shortstop Aaron Koffel to give themselves a force situation and to face Rylan Hedgecock. And the way Koffel and Coffey are swinging it, exactly with a base open and a chance to create a force, puts Canada in the best defensive position, and the infield is in to try to cut off a run. So Dawn Bodrug facing Rylan Hedgecock. She grounded into an inning-ending 5-4-3 double play and another conversation. This one generated to make sure that everyone has their signs straight. Always more critical when there's a runner at second and there's a chance to maybe tip off the hitter, which technically is not legal, but happens in every situation. On the ground, Leung comes home for one. Weidman and Canada, who ran into a similar story last night against Japan, turn their second double play to get out of trouble. It remains 0-0 after 3 at the Canada Cup.
No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 2 runners left on base. We played 3 innings and we were in tie.
Canada with an impressive double play to end the bottom of the 3rd inning. Bases loaded. Janet Leung comes home. Natalie Weidman to first. And it's the second time in the game that Canada gets out of trouble with an inning-ending double play. It happened in the first, except this time the bases were loaded.
And that, Peter, from a player's standpoint, is going to shift the momentum. The momentum was on TC Colorado's side, getting runners on every base, bases loaded. Double play to end that inning. Momentum's going to shift here for Canada.
And we have a new pitcher for Triple Crown Colorado. And another left-hander to face Emma Ensminger, and that is Cassidy Curd. Had a sensational first year at the University of Duke, pitching them all the way to a super regional before losing out. And she's had a fine tournament. So a quality 3 innings for Mariah Lopez, who did not give up a hit. Ensminger down the right field line, but this will drift foul. Curd has pitched 6 1/3 in her 4 appearances here in Surrey. She's given up no runs, 6 hits, struck out 8, and walked just 1 batter. As Ensminger grounded out her first time up to second base player Jackie Lease. A squibber out of the box and a strong throw made by Sarah Gordon to retire the first Canadian hitter in the top of the 4th.
I don't know if you can hit that any more off the cap of your bat, but Gordon behind home jumps up and makes a good play.
Janet Leung popped up to the shortstop, her first time up. Janet with 10 hits in the tournament. She's homered, she's tripled, she's doubled, and she has 3 runs batted in. The 29-year-old from Mississauga, Gamel, Lease, Wickoff. All 3 tried to get there. They could not quite achieve what they went in search of. It has been a whale of a game. Only 2 hits so far, both belonging to Triple Crown Colorado. And Canada yet to get its hitting attack on the go, and they won't hear off the new pitcher, Cassidy Curd. And she comes in very effective as well and retires the first 2 Canadian batters that she has faced.
And Peter, I wonder, with Dave King, coach of TC Colorado, with a pitching roster of 7, are you going to switch them out every time the top of the lineup gets up so Canada can't get in a groove? Might as well if you have that many.
I would suggest the answer to that is absolutely yes.
And that is frustrating as a hitter. Canada, they've been doing so well the last couple of games. You struggle your first at bat. Okay, you go in the dugout, mentally prepare, and then you've got to kind of reset. And if that's what Coach Dave is doing, that's a great approach. And it'll be tough for Canada to kind of get in a groove if that's his plan.
Cassidy Curd was 18-3 at Duke University, pitching for the Blue Devils. Struck out 159 batters. Before her team lost out in 2 straight in Durham, which is the location of Duke University, to Stanford. Larissa Franklin and Lassiter. Another 1-2-3 inning. Canada yet to register a hit. Their defense has bailed them out, and so has Don Bodrug. Still looking for the first run in this winner's bracket semifinal on a glorious day at Softball City. To the bottom of the 4th, sun hat, sunscreen. What a way to spend a Saturday afternoon. Can't think of a place on the planet I would rather be. Canada, Triple Crown, Colorado. In a winner's bracket semifinal game for the right to play Japan tonight, and Gamel just foul. She drew a walk her first time up, did Hannah. Numbers, as I mentioned earlier, were a little down this year at the University of Arkansas, another quality program. 6 homers, 236, 26 runs batted in as she waited on the changeup and pulled it almost right into the Canadian dugout. Now, in her college career, she's hit .302 with 33 home runs and 104 runs batted in. In 2022, she hit 18 of those homers. And Bodrug with a 3-pitch strikeout to Hannah Gamble.
Catcher number 2, Sarah Gordon.
So promising for Canada to have Dawn Beaudrug on this stage against a team of this quality as they prepare themselves to try to qualify for next year's Women's World Cup in Italy in the same site as next year's World Championship. As the 6-team World Cup stage qualifier will begin for Canada on July 22nd. So they'll take a day after tomorrow's final day of the tournament, maybe spend some time with family, little extra time at the laundromat, and then head to beautiful Italy. And Sarah Gordon forces Kaylee Rafter to do a bit of a dance over there. In her second year after a stellar playing career, a lengthy one as Canada's number 1 catcher and one of the brightest minds in the game. And that just doesn't come from me. That comes from so many people that I've talked to who just absolutely are so impressed with how Kaylee Rafter thinks the game. As Beaudrug facing University of Louisville star Sarah Gordon, and she sends another ball. She makes a big turn, but good hustle by Polidori to get it in, and Harshman did well to block it to make sure it didn't get away at second.
Gordon does a great job keeping her hands inside. Again, this pitch taking it to left field and getting herself on. And it's interesting, Gordon has a bit of she does something weird with her hands where the cap of the bat goes down and can result in a pop-up sometimes, but she did a great job leveling that out.
Well, she hit .379 and was on the first All-American team for first-year players. That puts you in good stead and company. She was also the Athletic Coast Conference first-year player of the year. In calling women's sports, I always want to be, now more than ever, as respectful as I can to women, gender. So that is why, and I know they're technically called freshmen. And Beaudrug again with her out pitch, which is the high rise. And it's strikeout number 5 as she sits down a very good hitter in Jackie Lease that way for the second time this afternoon.
And that's a great pitch. It is so difficult from a hitter's perspective, especially at the speed that she's pitching at. She throws it out of the zone, but again, it looks, as it comes out of her hand, it looks so good that you want to swing. And that's what's so effective. Sorry.
If you are unfamiliar with some rules in women's softball and softball period, a courtesy runner comes in with 2 outs for a catcher. So Gordon gets a chance to set up, and it's Jackie Lease who comes in to run with Haley Wickoff, the right fielder. Triple Crown Colorado is grounded into 2 inning-ending double plays, both of them off the bat of Rylan Hedgecock, one with the bases loaded, and 1 out in the third. And this will give Ensminger a great opportunity, and she makes good on it. Dawn Beaudrug giving Canada the exact start that Kaylee Rafter was looking for. To the top of the 5th. Still looking for the game's first run on a great day for almost anything at beautiful Softball City. Zoe Hicks from Boissevain, Manitoba. Played her collegiate ball at Louisiana Tech, that college career, and I feel bad for all those athletes who went through COVID and didn't get the full college experience, although they did add an extra year for some because of it. And then she went overseas to play for a year in the Dutch League. So he played for Canada in the 2017 World Junior Championship and has had an excellent first major event for her with the women's national team. But part of the growth, because there's really, in many ways, certainly two tiers of teams here. I think that's very fair. So against teams that finished certainly 6 through 8, although I've been impressed with Israel. Mexico is capable, but young and in transition. So almost 3 tiers, because so far Japan has looked like they're at a different level. And then these two teams, Italy and the rest, in different tiers. And Hicks goes down on strikes for a second time. Canada still without a hit. They've only had one base runner. It was the young woman who's at home plate, 21-year-old Kiana Jones. Change up, juggled by Danica Coffey, who recovers to throw Jones out at first. And Cassidy Curd has come in, Amanda, carrying on right where Mariah Lopez left off.
That ball's hit hard, and Coffey does a great job. Peter, you and I have talked about recovering a bobbled ball barehanded, and good job making the play.
Polidori with a good cut on the rise from Cassidy Curd in her 5th appearance. And there's activity down the line for Triple Crown Colorado. And it is second-year Canada Cup veteran Courtney Coppersmith who got the save in one of those 2 wins last year here over the United States national team. Japan awaits the winner. And that game will decide our first finalist in this 8-team event. Polidori, Koffel. 1, 2, 3. Goes Canada again in the 5th. Triple Crown Colorado coming to bat when we return in what high-level women's softball is really all about. Well, we have a dynamite winners bracket semifinal for the right to play Japan this evening here at 6 o'clock Pacific time. Triple Crown Colorado has 3 hits. They've stranded a number of runners. Canada's turned 2 inning-ending double plays to get out of a couple of jams. And then Don Bodrug has struck out 5 Triple Crown Colorado hitters in what has been a marvelous international performance for her. And facing center fielder Mackenzie Wilson to begin the bottom of the 5th. Wilson is from Long Beach, California, just completed her junior season at Baylor University with the Bears, where she hit .326 with 23 runs batted in. And she has one of those 3 hits this afternoon. It occurred in the 3rd. Fights it off. Polidori back and tracks it. As Erica Polidori does well. Read it well off the bat. In foul territory. Had to take a few steps. Jalia Lassiter with a mighty cut on the high rise from Bodrug, who's a 23-year-old from Georgetown, Ontario, and might become a real fixture on this Canadian pitching staff internationally moving forward. On the ground, nice hop for Kelsey Harshman. And there are 2 down as Bodrug takes care of the number 8 and number 9 hitters in the Triple Crown Colorado lineup. What an afternoon for Don Bodrug. As 25-year-old Morgan Rackle will come in, and yes, there should be a large ovation for the Ontario product. She was terrific. Induced a couple of inning-ending double plays. Gave up just 3 hits to this lineup that has batted during the round robin in the neighborhood of 380 and scored 45 times. And Morgan Rackle comes on for Canada. And she has delivered nicely so far in this tournament. In fact, her best outing came against Mexico when Samantha Ryan gave up a couple early. And what great pitchers can do, especially in relief, give your team a chance to win. Amanda, they talk a lot about that in my usual sport of broadcasting, being hockey with goalies who are under similar pressure in their sport. Come in, give your team a chance to win a game. As you get another great look from Luciano Lafrano's drone at Softball City, where we expect the crowds to build as the afternoon continues, and especially for the 2 games tonight.
I like that metaphor of the hockey and goalie, because they essentially are kind of a goalie, and they throw every single pitch, and if they're not doing their job, they're not going to win a game and give that offense a chance.
Danica Coffey, 12 for 17 in the tournament. She reached on an error to center fielder Callum Pilgrim in the 3rd inning when Canada ended up getting out of it with a Leung at short, Weidman at home to first, inning-ending double play. And this woman at home plate, She can punch it. She can drop it down. She can scoot. I've made a bit of a Natasha Watley comparison, who is one of the great leadoff hitters of all time. I'm not sure she was always in the leadoff spot for USA, but Danica Coffey does a lot of similar things. And with Natasha Watley, every time the ball was on the ground and in play, you thought she was going to get to first base. And more often than not, the Hall of Famer did.
And that's having confidence behind your defense. And that's what pitching well does too, is your defense makes plays. It helps you pitch better.
And that's a quality pitch from Morgan Rackle, making her third appearance of this Canada Cup. She's from Calgary, Alberta. She's been around the program now for a while, but mostly in reserve-type roles, especially her first few years, behind veterans like Groenwagen, who is back after taking a year off and is really the ace of this Canadian staff. But she's still trying after you miss a year, and it's still relatively early in the year, I guess midway through now at this point on the international calendar, trying to get back up to speed. And Rackle continues to get the job done. A lefty-lefty matchup. And Canada has struck out Danica Coffey twice today. 5 in the books. We've got a dandy at Softball City. Great crowd, beautiful day, one of the finest facilities for this sport that I would suggest you might find anywhere on the planet, let alone the country I call home of Canada, Peter Loubardias, along with Californian, but more importantly for these purposes, longtime Team Italy shortstop, played in the Olympic Games, number of European championships. Amanda participated in the World Games last summer in Birmingham, Alabama. In Canada, sends Grace Mesmer from nearby Cloverdale to hit. And she has been on a roll. It's only started in one game. 2 games she's started in this week. And she has 5 hits herself. And batting in place of Callum Pilgrim, which is a bit of a surprise. Also a right-handed batter. And Callum has 9 hits, 10 hits this week.
And I think that just goes to show that anyone on this Canada roster can come in if need be. And that's giving trust to your teammates, trust. The coaches have trust in each player, and that's a good thing with Pilgrim not getting this at bat. Let's see if Grace can do something and show why she's there.
Mesmer and Gamble climbs the first rung, I will say, of the ladder. And Cassidy Curd has been perfect since coming in for Mariah Lopez, as Canada's still in search of its first hit. And they only had one in their 8-0 5-inning setback at the hands of Triple Crown Colorado on Wednesday afternoon in the round-robin affair. Another pinch hitter. This is Nicole Rive, whose biggest moment of this tournament was a RBI 2-run single against Mexico that kicked off that 7-run explosion a couple of days ago. Canada was down 2-1, coming off the one-hit performance against Triple Crown Colorado on Wednesday evening. And Rive really kick-started the Canadian engine against Mexico. See if maybe she has the answer right here. She's a 22-year-old from Oakville, Ontario, and is being very patient against Cassidy Curd. Canada has only reached base once. It came on a Mariah Lopez walk of Kiana Jones back in the second inning. That has been it for Canada offensively. Been such a well-pitched and defended game outside of Canada's one error. But they were able to make a great defensive play in the third to make sure it wasn't costly. And you get the sense that it might be another one of those for one of these two teams that decides this contest. Rive stays alive.
And well done getting that ball, just fouling it off. Staying alive, not the pitch she wants to be able to drive, so got to protect and just foul it off until she gets the pitch that she can really drive, see well.
Rive hit .338 at Canisius University this past college season, and Cassidy Curd paints the outside corner. Could have had a brush. And she has her second strikeout since she replaced Mariah Lopez to start inning number 4. Triple Crown Colorado has retired 12 consecutive Canadian batters. And if there's one hitter, and I think I'm repeating myself again, that can change that, that's Kelsey Harshman. Been tough with the Canadian statistics here. It's a bit of a glitch in one of their games, unfortunately. And Harshman has a good rip at the Curd pitch.
And making adjustments at that, excuse me, Peter, but first one she fouled off, more of a pop fly. This one she levels out a little more of a line drive, and she's feeling better each at bats, maybe seeing it. And she's definitely calmed down a little more in the zone, more playing for contact than big balls.
Harshman underneath it. It's been the order of the afternoon for Canada against this Triple Crown crew. It's been a lot of 1-2-3s. And an important bottom of the 6th is up next in South Surrey at Softball City. Luciano. Now, the reason we are showing you this group of people is we believe it is the woman with the white hat and the red Canada shirt who is the aunt of Canadian first base coach Jennifer Salling, one of the all-time great players in Canadian history. And her name is Jeannie Jacobs. And we got a little note to say, boy, it would be a nice touch to say happy birthday to Auntie Jeannie today on behalf of your niece, as Erin Koffel with her second hit, and it was a rope to left off Canadian pitcher Morgan Rackle, who came in to get the final out, a strikeout of Danica Coffey, and just what Triple Crown Colorado was in search of. Another hit and a lead-off batter aboard in Erin Koffel, who continues to tear the cover off the ball here.
That was hit hard, and she does a great job. Again, lead-off batter, I can't emphasize on how important that is to get on, and she was aggressive at that pitch and drove it well.
I know that Sis Bates, a former star at the University of Washington, is the current number one shortstop for the United States national team. And in checking that group stage last night, she is having a great tournament. Had an incredible career at the University of Washington. But there, I'm almost certain, moving forward, is going to be a spot on that team for Erin Koffel. As people in my friend group and that I work with joke about, she is some kind of player. Reese Atwood coming off a stellar first-year season at the University of Texas. And she can swing it. See those Longhorn batting gloves? And Morgan Rackle hits Atwood, and Canada finds itself in a tough spot as Atwood was pitch hitting, for Rylan Hedgecock. So Triple Crown Colorado in business in a scoreless 0-0 game, 2 on, no one out in the bottom of the sixth. And a decision for head coach David King to make with the powerful Hannah Gamble. Do you bunt or do you let her swing away? Swinging away, foul. As Hannah steps out of the batter's box and takes a direct look at the head coach and third base coach, David King. Put together another terrific collection of college all-stars, and that's exactly what they are. And they're young for the most part, too. A lot of first-year player of the year from different high-end conferences are here. Change up on the ground. Canada's going to get one. And might have, and you have to play back in the middle of the diamond, right, Amanda?
Yeah, you have to. You can't be forward on a hitter like this with the power she has. You have to play back, and that's a tough ball to defend. It jams her kind of. Not jams her, but it hits off the handle of her bat. She's a little too eager to get a deep ball going. But that's a great play. Potentially getting a double play, but at least getting an out there by Harshman.
Well, infield in now. Gordon, if you're Canada, you want to let that go foul, and that is what a very aware right fielder Kiana Jones does, as that was more than deep enough to score Koffel, who has her second hit. She's 2 for 2 in the game. She also drew a walk in her other plate appearance. And Sarah Gordon is a clutch hitter for this Triple Crown team. She has a base hit today and had The only blast that Triple Crown Colorado needed against Canada on Wednesday afternoon in their 8-0 win, it got them off the mark with a 2-run homer to left. Game on the line. Right at Leung. Juggled, but hangs on.
Yeah, it's hit hard. She doesn't really have the time to really jump up for it. Able to recover it. Getting out. And in these moments, these high stress moments, runners on third, 0-0 game, it's those athletes that want the ball. Hey, hit the ball to me. We saw Leung and Harshman kind of talking a little bit with the runner on first and third and less than 2 outs. Hey, if there's a ball hit up the middle and it's hard, let's go for a double play and try and get out of this inning. And that would have been great to see because we saw that smooth double play earlier. And again, going back to the confidence that you have in your players, and talking to Janet Leung yesterday, she was saying that what Canada's trying to do is build that trust in each other. And again, in this situation, do you want the ball getting hit to anyone else on the field? Probably not. And so they were able to come up with a good out in a high moment.
The Olympic bronze medalist juggled but held on. 2 out. Runners at the corners in a 0-0 winners bracket semifinal. A date with Japan awaits tonight at 6. This is what this sport is all about at a high level. Talon Edwards into the game as a pinch hitter, and Rackle just missed outside with ball 2. She's come on after a marvelous performance by the starter for Canada, Dawn Bodrug. Maybe the game of her life that she's pitched so far, and I don't think that's completely out of line. Leung settles under, and again Canada able to get out of a jam as they have a little Houdini in them today after being Houdini'd last night by Japan. To the 7th, and Canada still in search of their first hit. It's 0-0 in South Surrey. The third Triple Crown Colorado pitcher in her second consecutive appearance at the Canada Cup. She was a key figure in this team beating the United States twice here last year before losing to them in the final. University of Maryland, Baltimore County pitcher Courtney Coppersmith. She has pitched 5 innings here, given up 1 run, 4 hits, struck out 6, and walked 1. Ensminger, first pitch hitting. and becomes the 14th Canadian in a row to be retired by the trio of starter Mariah Lopez, Cassidy Curd, and now Coppersmith.
And you talk about giving your offense a chance. Retiring 14 Canada hitters is huge and going to give your offense the opportunity.
Janet Leung made a fine catch on a hot shot that could have given Triple Crown Colorado the game's first run in the bottom of the sixth, and then a much easier pop-up to end it. Would love her most important hit of the week here. And Lassiter Lease has re-entered. Jackie Lease able to make the catch. And it's only taken 3 pitches for new pitcher Coppersmith to record a couple of outs. Right off the top of our show, in our show open, the one thing you mentioned was, can Canada hit the same way against this group as they have even against Japan? They had 7 hits last night. They have 0 so far today.
Well, even to switch that to the other side, switching that over to the TC Colorado side, they have 4 hits and no runs. So it's really clutching up, and who's going to capitalize when it's needed most?
Well, I said to you in between innings that sport is at its best, and you are one of the best, an Olympian, when every pitch, every play could change the course of an important game. Franklin to Danica Coffey. Out is the call, and it was close. Triple Crown Colorado, this has been a gem. Has a chance to win it in the bottom of the 7th when we return to Softball City on this sensational playoff Saturday.
This game was 1:30? What's that? 1.
Started at 1, yeah.
An hour and a half, hour 40.
Yeah, this is the way the sport's supposed to be played. It could use a little more action. That I will say.
Oh, we're finishing it this way, aren't we?
Yes, yes.
Oh, come on.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Let's go to the left, numéro 3, right fielder number 3, Kaylee Wigoff.
The bottom of the 7th, 0-0. Crucial playoff game in this 8-team Canada Cup Women's International Division, and it has more than lived up to its billing, especially from a pitching standpoint. Is Kaylee Wigoff leads the bottom of the 7th off for Triple Crown Colorado. They have only managed 4 hits themselves today. And there's number 5. And Wigoff made a big turn, but great work out in center by Pilgrim to race over, cut that ball off. If she doesn't get there, Amanda, it might be a triple.
Right. She does a great job getting there. Again, a triple or even extra bases and getting a double. That's a great job getting the ball in.
Mackenzie Wilson has one of the now 5 Triple Crown Colorado hits. Will be asked to move the runner over. Lefty versus lefty. As Morgan Rackle came into the game, the 25-year-old Calgarian, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. Was in a mini jam. There were runners at the corners and less than 2 outs, but got a line drive and a pop-up to keep the zeros up on the board. And a failure to execute. How big a factor is that in a game like this?
That is huge. If she's going for a sacrifice bunt, she has to get that bat out there early and just put the ball down and get that runner over.
Polidori ranges over and makes the play as Mackenzie Wilson fails in an opportunity to move the runner over for Triple Crown Colorado. Jalea Lassiter's biggest hit came yesterday in the round-robin finale in a wild one against 0-7 Team Greece. This could be 2. The throw apparently pulled Zoe Hicks enough off the bag because it looked from here. We'll get another gander if the throw's on time.
Not too sure about that one, but I want to point out how crucial that bunt from Wilson would have been, because then you would have had a runner on second, potentially moved her over to third there. And that's why these lost opportunities can result in something not going your way.
We'll have a pinch runner for, no, just a little talking to. That is Lassiter, remains out there. Reached on a fielder's choice. From the one replay I just saw, I'll leave it there. Danica Coffey, the tournament's best hitter in average coming into the day. She is 0 for 3. She did reach on an error to the center fielder in the 3rd. So Canada looked like it was going to close the door in the 7th on what would have been their 3rd double play of the afternoon. And it's a leadoff on Lassiter. 3rd time in the tournament that Triple Crown Colorado has been called for a base runner taking a little bit of a liberty over at first. And maybe, well, just maybe, the play before might have had a little something to do with it. 7 innings, not enough. We go to extras. And why not? It's well worth it. Play at the Canada Cup continues. We're into an extra inning in a game that will send the winner to the winners bracket final tonight against unbeaten Japan, who downed Italy in today's first game with another impressive performance. An 8-1 6-inning win. Japan has never gone to the 7th inning here. Only 6. We're going to 8, and if you're unfamiliar with the rules, as Zoe Hicks pops up a bunt and got away with it, you place in the international tie-breaking rule to look to prevent games from going forever. You start the last batter to make an out at second base in the 8th and in every extra inning. So it's Larissa Franklin. Zoe Hicks gets down the bunt. And nicely executed by the Manitoban, Zoe Hicks. And she is clapping on her way to some high fives and low fives in the Canadian dugout.
And that bunt is crucial because are you able to move that runner over? Everyone knows for the most part, 99% of the time you're going to be bunting if you are that first hitter. And you're probably going to see a rise ball because they want you to pop it up, which is exactly what happened that first pitch. But she's able to keep her bat up in the strike zone and work down and sacrifice herself. That is a great job from Zoe, sacrificing herself and getting a runner on third base.
Kiana Jones, remember, Canada during the course of the regular 7 innings and still do not have a hit. Did not have a runner past first base. Only 1 walk. Now they have a runner, the go-ahead run, 60 feet away at third. Now, can you cash in from here? Franklin, the base runner, who's missed the majority of the week after injuring what we were told, an ankle in pre-competition, or not even in Nashville. It happened here. They played 2 exhibition games last Saturday and Sunday, and she was hurt in those games. Kiana Jones from Surrey. And a critical strikeout for Courtney Coppersmith. And it's exactly what you want if you're the defensive team in this situation.
Yeah, that's a big out because any ball that she can put in the outfield is most likely going to score a run. And so be able to get that out and get 2 outs now where any type of ball in the infield, even if the runner scores, it's not going to count if you're able to make that out at first. So that was a big, big out for TC Colorado.
Well, Courtney Coppersmith, the third pitcher to work, came in to start the top of the 7th with a important strikeout. And now faces bronze medal winner Erica Polidori. And her first offering is high and well out of the zone. And I wonder if that conversation was about, if we have a choice, don't let Erica beat us. She drives it! A fair ball! The first hit of the day for Canada is a 2-out double. And run batted in off the composite bat of Erica Polidori that sends this fan base to their feet.
What a great hit. Right down the line again with a runner on third, 2 outs, just put the ball in play somewhere, and that veteran really clutched up for her Colorado team and getting them the first hit and first run in extra innings here.
Canada's first hit. 2-out double by the Olympic bronze medalist Erica Polidori, and what a time for it to happen. Now remember, Triple Crown Colorado is handed the same situation. And in these scenarios, if you can ever score a second run, it changes everything. And Grace Mesmer, her second at-bat of the game, has Polidori in scoring position, high in the air. Should be routine for Wilson. So Polidori gives Canada a 1-0 lead, but plenty of work to be done to prevent Triple Crown Colorado from at least drawing even. Everyone engaged. Back with the bottom of the 8th shortly. The youngsters are out. The Canadian flags are out. The bleachers are starting to fill up. And if you have made your way to Softball City for this one, you have more than gotten your money's worth. And we still are a long ways away from maybe deciding a winner in a game that will send that team to face Japan in a winner's bracket final. And the winner of that game tonight, slated at this point for 6 o'clock, would earn a direct berth into tomorrow evening's championship final. And it's the top of the Triple Crown order. Jalia Lassiter, a popped-up bunt. Exactly what Canada was looking for.
Like we talked about last inning, how crucial is the bunt in a game, let alone extra innings. That can be a loss of opportunity because now you've got one out and your runner's still at second. That's a great job.
And they're going to intentionally walk Koffel again. She's too hot and too dangerous. When you're coaching, I would guess what goes through your mind is, I might get beat today, but I'm not letting somebody that hot beat me. It's going to come from somebody else. And this team has more than enough firepower, including the young woman at home plate, Reese Atwood, from Sandia, Texas, who had a terrific year for the University of Texas Longhorns and has had a quality Canada Cup. So the pop-up bunt, then the intentional walk to University of Kentucky star Erin Koffel. And a good pitch in on the hands. And this will really, I think, regardless of how it goes, this week is really, I think, going to help both Bodrug and Morgan Rackle as Canada tries to solidify and rebuild its pitching staff after the 2021 Summer Olympic bronze medal, the first medal Canada has ever won in women's softball. Tournaments played in 96, 2000, 2004, 2008, and then 2021. And it's a double off the bat of a Canadian Olympic medalist, Erica Polidori, that has them in front here in an extra inning. And look out. Atwood can turn on it. She has very quick hands.
She does, and we saw that earlier with these inside pitches, and the defense was shifted a little bit over to the left side and a little bit now, trying to get her to hit a hard ground ball and get a double play out of it.
A squibber. Rackle composes herself. And there are 2 away. And it's Canada Cup veteran Hannah Gamble, who has yet to drive in a run this week. Has had 8 hits. Make it 9.
That's what makes her extremely dangerous right now, though, too, Peter, is she has the tying and winning run out there, and a ball on the ground in the gap can be her first 2 runs in, and good ones at that.
Well, with a base open, Koffel is the winning run at second. Lassiter, who started the inning, as the runner at second. That's how the extra innings begin. Ripped. And there's the first 2 runs batted in for Hannah Gamble and Triple Crown Colorado. Scores 2 in the bottom of the 8th and spoil the Canadian party and have a date with Japan tonight in the winner's bracket final just after 6. And it's off the end of the bat, but in a perfect spot. And we'll try and take a look at that winning hit. A terrific game here this afternoon. And it was off a good pitch too, Amanda.
A great pitch, and she just does a great job. Again, not trying to swing for a home run, but just get it out there. She's been struggling a little bit, but she's clutching up for her team. Great job by both teams, and great job for both pitching staffs as well, really holding it down and making this an exciting game for us.
We'll take a quick break and come back with a little wrap-up. There's a lot to wrap in a bow for this one. Canada suffers its first playoff loss in heartbreaking fashion. They lose 2-1 in an extra inning to Triple Crown Colorado in what might have been as well played a game as we have witnessed all week. Back after this.
Our next game is scheduled for 3:30 p.m. It'll feature Team Israel and Team Greece.
Pitching was really the story, correct?
Yeah, I completely agree. The pitching really held both teams in it until this 8th inning, and that's what international softball is, and any moment the game can change, and that's what makes it so elite and was so exciting to watch.
Well, Canada did not have a single hit. They only had one base runner And then Olympic bronze medalist Erica Polidori hits a ball to the fence, gave Canada the lead, and I could almost feel it coming. Hannah Gamble is a terrific hitter for Triple Crown Colorado. She picked a pretty good time, didn't she, to cash in her first 2 runs of this tournament.
She's going to be very excited, and what we've seen throughout both these teams in this tournament is, again, if they haven't had a lot of hits, it's going to happen soon. You can kind of feel it happening, and it happened there for TC Colorado right at the end and at the right time.
What a great game. Spectacle for the sport in South Surrey. It's Triple Crown Colorado on their way to the winner's bracket final tonight against Japan. We'll have that for you a little later. So long for now from Softball City.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com.